Welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is the Lowtown live stream number 32.
Yeah.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, that's right. We're streaming 12 times per day.
Yeah. This is a live stream in the middle of our Kickstarter campaign. We're on day 10, and we don't really know how many of the streams we've done, so I made up a number. But we are going to be, it's a very special episode tonight. I mean, actually, every night's been a special episode, but this one's extra double special because we have Toby and Michelle in the house. We're going to be talking, well, I guess Michelle is in her house. We're going to be talking about sculpting. Ask them anything.
Yeah.
What else is going on tonight? What do we got? Hey, welcome.
We're going to be doing a $50
Toby, what
giveaway.
are we doing tonight?
$50 giveaway.
We want to be $50.
We're going to be $50.
We're giving away $50 cash. $50 of pledge manager credit for the Cities Untold Lowtown Kickstarter. That's the Kickstarter we're doing right now. If you're here and you haven't heard about that, we're doing a Kickstarter. It's like almost, it's over, is it just under 200 or is it over 200 pieces? It's a lot of pieces.
Over. I know,
it's over
Tyler
200?
would know specifically.
It's a lot of pieces.
If you count the terrain trays and everything, it's definitely over.
But hey, you don't need all of it. Even just a set or two is very helpful. $50 will get you a long way towards picking up a set or two, which will help you make your games better. Yeah.
Not necessarily better, right? Like, we don't want to say you have to have terrain to. It's a different type of game. Some people prefer it, but
My bitrate is trash.
Trash element.
It does. It's another.
This is all good now.
Woo!
Maybe your bitrate is bad.
Oh,
Consider
sick
that.
burn. So, if you're new, welcome. We'd love to have you here. Please interact with us. That's why we're here. We want to hear your questions. We want to hear your jokes. We want to hear why nobody should go into spelljamming space. So share your thoughts with us. The only rule is just be nice. We're all a bunch of people here, and we have the best community of folks, so let's keep it awesome and friendly and fun. I don't think there's any other rules. Any other rules?
You know the rules, and so do I.
Don't ask about
ominous.
don't ask about modular ships. I think.
No, I'm listen. I love modular ships. It's so far out of the scope of what we're doing right here, and we're going into space. We have a board game. We have Hightown. We have catacombs and dungeons and stuff. It's a long ways off. So don't if you want to talk about 10 years in the future, I'm all for it. But right now we got the future. Michelle, are there any other rules for tonight? Anything going on we should know about?
Don't mind the cat butt.
Oh yeah, she's got new cats. During this Kickstarter, like a couple months ago at this point. How old are they now?
They're 6 months old.
Yeah.
They're ready to both get fixed. Really, really ready
Oh boy.
to get fixed.
Yep, sounds fun.
Yeah.
You're about to be the proud owner of a bunch of new kittens.
So we've been getting a lot of kitten photos over the last couple months.
It's been delightful. Good for morale. Well, here's the other super big thing before we dive in. You may be wondering, hey, where the heck is Eli? Right, head of our sculpting department. Why isn't he here for this sculpting stream? Anybody want to guess? Anybody in chat want to guess?
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Actually, yeah. That's a lot of fun.
Where's Eli? What happened to Eli?
Like $50.
Where's Eli?
Whoever guesses.
It's like Where's Waldo, but it's Eli.
It's just a picture of the woods. You have to find him.
Yeah, we're alive, barely, but yes.
Still has
Is it important?
question.
Is it important? Oh yeah, are we doing beauty or just a walkthrough tomorrow?
We should get some beauty shots for yeah.
Okay.
So this is while we're talking. Speaking of Eli, we're filming the Elven Trading Post tomorrow, which is going to be our unlock at 3 million. And it features a bunch of pieces that Eli sculpted, elven facades. It's going to be pretty awesome. And yeah, we're going to shoot some beauty shots of it, some video of it, so we can see Elven coming. So that's something to look forward to, because that thing is, I venture to say, it's 18 inches tall, which is ridiculous.
DW says Eli did the splits and ...
These are facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's sculpting a rocket to go to the moon.
He's like a 3rd degree yellow belt in Taekwondo or something.
Oh, nice.
That's how he does the splits.
I didn't realize they all had degrees.
Oh yeah, no,
It's expensive.
Very,
Yeah.
6 degrees of yellow belt.
Yeah, nobody got it right.
Eli had a baby. Woo, on purpose, right? Yay! But you have to say it's important.
He accidentally had a baby.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
He had a baby. He and
His wife had a baby.
Right.
He helped.
he
I think
morally
even- I think
supported.
Oh.
I think
He
even
morally
him helping is
supported
a little
Eva.
questionable.
She had a 29-hour labor, so yes, she
Yeah.
very much had a baby. He was very much moral support.
Yeah.
But now he has an amazing baby daughter.
Everything is going well. There hasn't been any issues or anything outside of his wife having to go through 29 hours of labor.
We should let
everything has been fine.
him tell the name too, because it's
Yes.
poetry.
We're not gonna give like a bunch of information or anything. But we did ask, and he said he was down with sharing the news with the community. So yeah, is that our first Kickstarter baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you already had all your kids by.
Yeah.
Time
Well,
we were here.
no, I had Hawken. I don't know, at some point in the middle here, but Grayson was already around.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when I started,
Yeah, I had
Hawken
Grayson.
wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when. What?
I was pregnant, I think,
Yeah.
26
just before that trip that you took
Yeah,
during
Yeah.
Caesar Castles.
one of them. Yeah.
So basically, that's why Eli's probably not going to be as involved as he usually is during Kickstarters. He's got bigger priorities right now.
Well, you
Yeah.
know, deadlines are always a real challenge for
Yeah.
us, and he had rolling into this. Eli had like the ticking time bomb. The baby time bomb was coming. Like he was just like, I got to get this redacted piece done before the before the baby shows up, or we're not going to have it for the.
He's kind of
but he
finished
did.
sculpting the bassinet.
But yeah. So, should we dive into our main feature?
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to amble on about? All right, so our main feature is Michelle and Toby. So do you guys want to give your origin, your DF origin story? And then we can start diving. I have some questions. We'll look at a bunch of pieces. We'll go from there. So Michelle, you want to give us your DF origin story?
Well, I was sculpting for a fireworks display
As one does.
back in 2015, and was posting some pictures of some pieces that I was doing. Dwarven Forge was in the middle of Cities, the first Cities Kickstarter, and it had 2 weeks left to go when Stefan said, "Hey, can you sculpt fast?"
Classic DF.
And I said, as it compared to what? So he had me sculpting a few pieces, decorative bits to add to Cities. And I guess the rest is history. I went full on with castles.
Yeah, you did.
And so I am so glad to be able to actually be from the beginning working with these.
Well, Cities was not a great. The first Cities was not a great showcase for your work. Your curtains got mangled and a bunch of stuff. I don't know. It was just like.
And measurements weren't clear.
Yeah, things were like you didn't have the right information to work off of, and I don't know. Wandy was handling sculpts, and who knows where they went, and it was just like it was a bit of a wild ride.
Wow. Can you imagine if nowadays we hired a new sculptor 2 weeks to the end of the Kickstarter? Just like, that's pretty much like if we hired someone last week to work on
And
things.
sculpt fast,
Yeah.
and get a thing in, and we need a photo, and yeah.
Yeah.
It was a wild ride, definitely.
And how did you get into sculpting in the first place? Like, where did that come from?
Fireworks.
Wait, you gotta elaborate.
Since I was a kid, I loved doing, making builds for fireworks. I thought doing fireworks was just boring when you light them off one at a time. So as a kid, I would build matchbox or with matches, build little houses, popsicle sticks, and stuff them full of fireworks and light them off.
Amazing.
Nice.
And as I got older, they got more elaborate. And I did paper craft ones and a bunch of other really elaborate builds. And my husband Chuck found, he went to Gen Con one year and he saw her starts molds. And he thought, I could do my fireworks display using those molds, build up something, and you reuse it every year. So I wasn't building something new. Well, I loved the idea, but did not rebuild. I made a new one every year. And he didn't, Bruce Hurst didn't have any coral, because I was doing a undersea fireworks display of Atlantis. And so I decided, well, what if I just try to sculpt some pieces of coral? And those turned out great. I made molds of them and had over 300 in the final build.
Wow.
Well, and for those of you who don't know, Michelle made these fireworks displays. It's like a big elaborate build that's loaded with all sorts of fireworks and goes off and explodes and catches fire. And it's like, you know, you get the destruction. It's like glorious destruction. It's a pretty epic. And you have people like would drive from a while around to come to your fireworks display. Like it was a thing. It was a destination. It was a 4th of July destination thing. Yeah. Watch this lady make an elaborate thing and blow it up.
I want to see one of these in person one day.
Pretty much Pennsylvania has pretty lax firework laws, so we could easily do one out here.
Nice. Okay, definitely coming over next year or something.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So being able to sculpt, I didn't even occur to me to sculpt until I was trying to do an Atlantis build, and I loved it. It was so much fun to do, and I just kept doing it. Did a few tutorials, started a website, selling some of the molds of some of the pieces. The treasure trove, or the rags and riches mold that I did is the one that Stefan saw, the pieces for that, which was trash piles.
You've come full circle.
And a modular treasure pile with gold coins that you could build into as large a pile of coins and other magic items that you rarely see in 3D terrain. Ooh. Things like magic boots and wands and things. You don't see that very often. So, but that got me into Dwarvenite, and it's been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been you've sort of been nonstop for you since. Like once Castles rolled in and you were just going full tilt, I feel like you it never slowed down from there.
No, it has not.
Yeah, it's been delightful. And speaking of castles, Toby, what's your origin story?
Castles. I lived in a castle when I was born. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. Anyway, yeah. So I started during castles. So that's 7 years ago. Wow, because that was 2016 in like January around. So wow, yeah, that's 7 years. Yeah, before that, I was going to school for architecture, and like I always, did like art on the side and stuff like that. I didn't sculpt that much, but I came on as like helping with various things like casting. Like I did some blocking and like backup sculpting, kind of like where just preparing a piece to a certain point.
And you were also doing builds early on, right? You did that wild like Donkey Kong thing or whatever. Right? You were doing some like
I did a Smash Bros stage one as well. Yeah, like of course, like many others, I grew up on Legos, so yeah. So being able to like make Legos as an adult is amazing. But yeah, like as I was here, I was like was doing a bunch of things like casting and like LEDs and stuff like that. But I always wanted to do more of the, you know, sculpting side of it. So I've been doing more in cities here. I think I've done the most I've ever have done.
Yeah, this is definitely the most you've sculpted, hands down. Well, you've always been in the dev team, and we're doing a combination of builds and compositions and helping sort of figure out concepting the pieces and how we're going to manufacture this thing and how whatever sort of the whole, you know, sort of understanding the entire process before you started like poking at clay.
Yeah.
And so by the time you were poking at clay, you were like, you really knew the whole what's castable and how it's going to work, and you know the sorts of all the weird specifics that we need. You were super versed, and the style.
Thanks.
And what was it? What was the first piece you sculpted here? Do you remember?
First piece, I'm trying to remember. I think the first thing I worked on was the castle, the Untold cliffs, the straight one. I was doing blocking for that, and like I was told to take it a little bit further, so I like sculpted somewhat of like, you know, the basic details on that. I remember misunderstanding the piece and thinking it needed a floor sculpted in, so I had that. All the Untold cliffs had this floor sculpted in, and then
there were foam mocks for those too. I remember doing foam mocks on those.
Yeah.
That was wild. Yeah, wild color.
I think during dungeons I did a little bit more. I think I did the one that I remember off the top of my head is the LED, the floor socket one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have pulled that piece out. Oh.
Yeah, and then during caverns. You did more? I know I did the 4x4 LED floor. Yeah.
Yeah, the basalts.
Yeah, the basalts. I did that.
It was fun. Yeah. So let's get to the present here.
Yeah.
So, well, first of all, this build on the table. This is something that Toby put together. One of our sample builds just went up live today. You want to talk to people about this for a minute before we'll pop out some pieces and start talking about Lowtown specific pieces that you guys worked on.
So yeah,
what the heck's going on here?
So I called this build a brigade at the toll bridge, and basically I wanted to make a sample build using more of the urban elevation pieces and the seawalls, because some of this wasn't that much there that uses that. So this one I used 2 terrain trays, and like the seawall pack comes with 6 walls, but I didn't want to put 2 whole battle boards in there. So with using 2 of the cobblestone floor pieces, I figured that doing a small arrangement of that can cover the spaces that don't have things going on. And then over here, like where the bridge is, I used, you see the bottom of this.
You built the stone buildings right in line. Wow.
So the foundations of the building and stuff like that are built in.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So yeah, basically I was just trying to make like a sturdy bridge and use the market stalls as, you know, the toll booths, but also like the building on each side as like where it's regulated, I guess.
Quote unquote regulated, the toll keepers. Yeah. It was a fun one. Hopefully this will inspire folks on how you can use some of this elevation. And that is up on our sample builds page on the microsite. This is the Cities Untold microsite. And there's under galleries, there's sample builds. You can see a bunch of builds that Toby and Miles have been putting together. All right, let's look at some pieces. Yeah, Michelle, what do you want to look at first? Do you have a favorite you want to start with?
Well, do we do my favorite first, or say the?
Well, I don't know. Whatever. Where do you want to start? You.
We can start off with the bookcase.
Oh yeah. You go right for the big guns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me make sure I got the right.
Well, while you're pulling that up.
Yeah, we got a lot of images. Oh, cool. Yeah, look at the final sculpt there first.
We'll start with the sculpt, and then we can we'll dive into this thing. So this thing is, so this is what the final looks like. Let's see where it started. What was the concept? Do you remember where this thing, like conceptually, where we started with this?
Well, one of the first things we talked about was we wanted to do a nice big bookcase. And then something that everyone has wanted and talked about is the idea of a secret door bookcase. And so we started out with just doing some rough geometry with some clay. I was there in the studio. We were doing a week-long sprint.
Yeah, we like to get everybody physically in one place and just do like a full focus on whatever the latest development challenges are, and just have everybody like working collaboratively in one place. Yeah, that's very productive little chunks.
Those are always really
fun.
And
it helps to get that instant feedback. And so I took a look at the secret door piece from Caverns Deep and used that as the inspiration.
And Eli had done that and sort of engineered a pretty clever, like it's really hard to detect, right? That was our biggest thing, was like, we don't want it to be obvious, right? It's got to be as secret as possible, so secret that, you know, customer service is going to get annoyed. Messages like, where's my secret bookcase? I just got a regular bookcase that doesn't have a secret door in it. That's what we're hoping for. Sorry, Chuck.
Yeah, well, that's what at the Dungeon of Doom secret corner, we get those call or emails all the time. I got 4 corners and no secret door. So using those as inspiration, I just did a bunch of, I did a couple of sketches and a quick little mock.
Do you have those, that image?
Let's see. Which one do we want?
Start with sketches.
Just the green sketches?
Sure.
Start with the sketch.
Let me hide that real quick. So they don't know what order we're going in. Actually, where are the sketches in here?
Well, one of the things that I had wanted to do was I wanted to be able to have since we were only going to have one bookcase, I wanted it to be able to, whether it was out there as a secret door or not. Sorry, I've got a cat climbing on.
It's all good.
She walked across my keyboard and turned
Sounds
the video
right.
off.
Mom, pay attention to me.
So I think we'll have to put her away somewhere.
Put her away.
in one of the 800 rooms you have.
Yeah, but
All right, so
since we have to keep them separated too, so.
So we got.
So I wanted to have 2 different bookcases that looked good together. So each side had a slightly different design. And then I had to incorporate hiding the hinge and all of the seams for the door part of the piece.
Yeah.
So this was the eventual. I did a few other sketches, but this is kind of what eventually became the 3D mock that I did out of clay.
And this was basically, your premise was you could use these vertical columns to hide the vertical seams by having a little overlap. And it worked like an absolute charm.
Yeah,
Well,
I was really surprised that it turned out as well as it did.
I wasn't surprised. You like this is how it works. You guys like until it works, you keep iterating until it works. Do you have the that clay, the early clay mock? Right. You just like you took like rectangles of clay and just sort of slapped it together to sort of demonstrate how the heck the thing was.
And I used the piece of the rest of that blowgun dart to make that metal piece there is the blowgun dart.
Michelle uses blowgun darts for axles and hinges and just the sort of thing you have a lot lying around. So what the heck? Oh, there's beans in the background there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of beans back there.
No, there's not.
I remember you demoing the rough geometry, and it was just sort of that, oh man, this is gonna work. It's like even with the rough geometry, it was like totally hidden. I think it was very, very exciting.
Yeah, what just made it so much easier to visualize and figure things out with the three-dimensional mocks. All the mocks that you come up with, Nate, that make it easier for us to understand what we're going to be sculpting. And so I just had to copy your method.
Well, it's been, between you and Eli and Toby, like people, like we create a lot of 3D, right? Like trying to generate a thing, like you can do a sketch in 2D, but at some point it has to go to some form of three-dimensionality before we can get into clay, just to like, is it going to work? What do we discover when it's actually in 3 dimensions? When you look at it, when you put it up against another thing, it's like, it's crucial if you get it to figure out how a three-dimensional object is actually going to work. You can only go so far on paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you make some fun discoveries along the way.
Yeah. And end up having to make changes as we go.
Every time. What other images of the creation of this thing do we have?
Got a lot of green stuff.
Let's look at it. Ooh.
Yeah. I worked almost exclusively in green stuff this time for this piece because I wanted it a little bit stronger and more robust, less likely to break on us. Well, since it had moving parts, and I wanted to make sure that the prototype, that the master sculpt actually worked as intended.
And I feel like you had to keep shaving stuff down and like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it was a lot of, okay, this isn't quite working, it's not smooth yet, or it just doesn't quite fit right, or doesn't move quite perfectly. So I did have to cut some away and redo it multiple times.
When you can see there, we can show it in real life. You would cut back to the live camera. So you did this really clever, right? You put removable shelves in there, so you could change the look of the thing. Oh man, can I get it out? Right, so that you could, especially if it's got a secret door, you could change the look to keep players on their toes, trying to maybe slow down the metagaming a little bit. So we've got neat shelf options. Can you put this up here?
But only one of them is.
Yeah, you can do the
bottom one's baked in.
It'd be really interesting to just have a chest of drawers in the middle of the shelf.
Yeah, you totally.
Yeah, I specifically designed that little drawer thing so that you could put it over the stuff on the bottom, or put it all the way up to the top. Just turn it, flip it over.
Oh wow!
And you could have the drawers up at the very top of it.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And just kind of play around with, because I really, really want to have an elaborate library
Well,
in
Hightown.
Yep. So I'm going to have, I definitely want a dozen or so of these for my own collection. So I wanted to be able to make them alternate what's there on the shelves, make it look a little different.
What I was really excited about. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
I say, well, you get used to knowing that the secret is there, but yesterday we did a stream with my kids, and he'd had it toppled over. There was a bunch of stuff on it. It had a painting hidden under it. They were trying to find the little painting that you sculpted, and it was under there. And the thing was sitting on the build. They were standing. They were a foot away from it because they're low to the ground, right? Their head's right there, and they had no idea there was a secret door in there. So when I opened the thing up, they pulled the thing. Like it totally floored them. And it did exactly, and they are eagle-eyed, right? They know how to. They know like every time I use like the old school secret door, like Grayson spots it in like a second. But this is like it totally fooled them, baffled them. It blew their mind. So it was really it was field tested and it worked.
That's good to know.
Yeah, and it was a real fun moment. It did exactly what it's going to do for people at home, right? When you get it and you do that first reveal for your players when that thing swings open, it's just going to be It's going to be delightful.
Yeah.
And I was really happy Erin, the paint scheme that she put together for this, I think it's just glorious.
Yeah, and as soon as the painters get a hold of our pieces and just bring them to life, that's always exciting to see, especially since Aaron and Hamster both agonized over the color schemes and painted so many different iterations of the color schemes that
and then
it's excited to see how it ends up.
And then had to change some of them when we finally get all the stuff together. Like it's not cohesive. Whatever. We put it in tonight's update. There was a nice bit from Aaron about trying to find the right cohesion for the various accessories in Lowtown. Because it was a challenge, right? It's trying to do a whole family that works together while only doing it like one piece at a time and not seeing the whole lineup. So,
especially with the roofs and also some of the Hightown stuff. There were so many iterations.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about the bookcase before we move on to Toby? What piece do you want to start with, Toby?
You choose for me. Can't decide yet.
Are we sculpting mostly in green stuff now?
No, it's still a mix.
Start with this.
Most of the big terrain pieces, like all of the walls and floors, the seawall, everything, all of that was done in monster clay. I still almost primarily use Sculpey for most of my stuff, and I've been doing kind of a hybrid of Sculpey mixed with green stuff, because it's been a lot easier to use my technique of doing a detail and making a mold of that and then making copies of it.
It's your version
and
of
the
analog copy and paste.
So much better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's you work primarily on the smaller decorative bits, and that stuff's really conducive to those. Any of the larger scale stuff tends to still be in monster clay.
Yeah. Unless it's like very thin pieces or like.
Yeah.
At least like, and sometimes you do a mix of like monster clay and green stuff. If it's like, like a good solid terrain piece, but you have like a lot of elements coming out that need to be thin, then you just have the green stuff sticking out of it.
Different mediums for different challenges.
Yep.
Caverns Deep crystals, the crystal caverns, that has a lot of hybrid mixed pieces where we had the crystals all done in a mix of hydrostone, or not hydrostone, epoxy sculpt and green stuff.
Yeah, and we cast them out and like didn't.
Green clay for the stone, that mixture for the crystals, and cast crystals stuck in it. You also do a lot of casting, right? You'll cast and then sculpt on a cast piece, and it's a really fun process.
When I'm working on something that has a repeating pattern, I often will make up the pattern and do it in mold, and then, or when I need to make a modification of a piece that's already been baked or that's already hardened, I will make a mold of that and then fill it with Sculpey or green stuff, and then work on that.
You found a lot of clever ways to iterate, because the reality is we end up iterating a lot, and sometimes unexpectedly, right? Like we think we have a thing, and then you get the last piece of the group, and it's like, oh no, it throws something off in here, and we have to tweak whatever. So you found all these sort of clever ways to still be flexible after the thing is like cooked and hardened, and you're like, all right, how can I adjust this and figure out how to get there? Sort of fearlessly go back in, like even after you've spent just endless hours on this thing, you fearlessly go back in and like tear off a bit and figure out how to get the thing until we get to that final, until we run out of time.
Even after that, sometimes we need to make changes, like post Kickstarter, for like slight changes that we didn't realize it doesn't function, or if it's difficult for the factory to do something, we need,
Or there's a casting challenge, it won't cast right, or there's a fit issue or something. We discover something partway through. Let's look at this. Let's look at some of these elevation bits that you did, Toby. Cool. So let's start. The genesis of this was, so Eli had sculpted a cobblestone pattern, right? So this kind of neat cobblestone pattern that has a circle and a star and a flower and a Valerian diamond and all this, where everything can. All right, and so we sort of figured out the top of the cobblestone. We knew we wanted to iterate that out but we needed a bunch of different levels and ways to go up and whatnot. So what was the first thing you tackled in that?
I think the first thing.
Was it this thing?
I think it was this first.
This guy, yeah.
First thing I tackled was the 2x2 elevation piece. It has like the arch built in and the sculpt on the bottom as well. Yeah.
So the 360 sculpt.
Yeah, pretty much. Had to be like, had wooden dowels sticking out of it. Oh yeah, my bad. I had wooden dowels sticking out of the bottom so I can remove it from the base so I can sculpt the bottom. And this was started before Reliquaries and I finished it afterwards.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but like, the idea for the elevation system is a lot of our other elevation systems we do 38 millimeter. This one we want to do 1 inch. Because it helps with the buildings being 2 inches. So,
well, the theory was 2 would get you back up to 2 inches. Like the buildings are 2 inches high, so doing something at half the height means that you could then get back up to building height, and you could do some interesting variation where you have a building at level, a building at 25 millimeters, then a second story is at 50, so you can step up, or then you can step the next one up by 1 inch, and you get back to 2 inches.
Yeah, and having a foundation, it will look a little bit weird if it's like 1.5 inches.
Yeah, too high.
Yeah, so we sent on that, and like, but not only elevation, we wanted it to be able to use on the water as well, and like for like seawalls and like aqueducts or like just like bridges and stuff like that. So, like this arch can like be a bridge or like can be a sewer grate. And I'm trying to think of what to say next.
I'm saying they look like bridge bases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to be just a fun building block, right? You could do anything with.
Yeah, and for the sculpting, I like the idea of like the cornerstones being like much more like stronger looking, while the ones in the middle, like I think the corner ones are called Kions or Quions. I know how it's spelled, not how it's pronounced, but like
It's the classic challenge of reading a word and not knowing actually how it's said. I don't know.
You see them on the side of like stone buildings sometimes, like those big, solid blocks that are just alternating.
Quoins, right?
Yeah. So, and the inner stones be more freeform, so it looks like more sturdier. And then it also works with the pieces that do have the arches built in, since the keystones of that have like the same kind of language. And so yeah, that was a fun to figure out the theme for that.
It's good cohesion.
Yeah. Also was fun to figure out how to have the blocks on the side like smoothly go into the cobblestones on the top.
And you had to make space for the biscuit hole.
Yeah, this holds these are thinner over here, and then the bricks in the middle like take a break.
Take a break. We're tired of breaking.
Yeah, it's like just like.
And then the tall boy. Why don't you look at the tall version of that too?
So yeah, and then we have like similar to this. We have the tall boy, that half arch piece. It's basically two of these that you can peg together and make a full arch. And usually you'll be doing a direct like that. You can do things where it's like if you're building something, one nice overhang on either side, like you can do something like that. Probably look better with that structure than have a building on that or something. But Nate's going to go grab the piece. But this has, on the inside of the arch, it has a cutout over here, which can hold, this how the walls have like the angled cutouts. This links together, can hold the narrow walls. I think it's coming back right now. Cool. Thank you. So yeah, you can put that, slot that right into a base like this, so you can make like either a bridge under a door under a bridge, or like a door to a shady, shady dealer. Yeah.
Or it just could be your basement. The door down to your root cellar.
Yeah, if you have like a big foundation, you totally see this even like in regular buildings. Like the entrance will be over here, and then the way to the basement will be.
You see it in New York City apartments all the time, right?
Yeah, that's
the brownstone. Like the basement apartment has an entrance like that, and then the stairs go up to it.
Yeah, my building has that as well. So, but what you can do with that is if you put a cobblestone floor between them. You can put a regular size wall there, so you can do put the lion arch piece like this, and a very grand entrance to beneath a castle or something, or just
sewer entrance, or the drain to your moat. Or something
yeah. This doesn't even need to be entrance. Yeah, it can be a drain or
Are the elevation blocks and the large arch the same height?
You mean these?
The elevation blocks like dungeon elevation blocks?
No, these are 2 inches, so yeah.
Those are a floor height shorter than these.
Yeah.
These are a full 2 inches.
So if you had the elevation block, you could then use the ramp.
Yes.
Yeah.
And a lot of this was we wanted to be able to do fun stuff with the big new battle boards.
Yeah.
Right, pop these, show this guy off. We wanted to be able to do stuff with the seawalls and the battle boards.
Yeah. You can steal one from there.
Why don't you show that one?
Yeah. And
Can you guys hear this party that's happening next door at all?
Upstairs is so loud. Is it next door or upstairs?
It's next door. It's on the other side of that wall. They're getting louder and louder.
Wow.
You can't hear it? Great.
Yeah, I guess all our audio is being picked up from our mics.
I suppose that's generally a baby photo studio. This is the first time I've heard just a bunch of adults screaming in there at night, so that's exciting.
The alcohol level goes up, the volume goes up.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah,
they're getting more and more drunk all the time.
It's Eli's baby
Yeah.
shower.
But yeah, anyway. So the next one I did was a seawall piece.
Great. No, not that. I'm glad that they can hear all the laughing.
It's a great.
Oh God, the seawall, great.
Invite them over.
Not this
Let's
again.
invite all these adult women over and show them these toys. It's like, yeah, look at what we do.
Yeah.
What do you guys do? Actual jobs?
Like, so what's the seawall?
Yeah. So the seawall, we designed it to be able to like work like this with a, paddleboard like this, or just having your city elevated off the, water as a seawall does. So it has a little bit of tricky geometry going on here. Like this one, the wall height is 38 millimeter, just like most of the other elevation blocks from other Kickstarters. But the things that stick out on either side, we have them an inch, so it's the same height as all the new elevation pieces here.
So you can do a cool causeway.
Yeah, you can do a causeway like that. You can have like out onto the water like that. And yeah, that way you can hold the paddleboard pretty much right at a 30 millimeter height. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, this side is sculpted with a sewer grate, so you can use that to go right into your sewers or something.
And it lines up with this.
Yeah, also, yeah,
Right.
it does line up with that.
Do the seawall grills come out? No, they don't.
No.
And the
For some
back
reason, we feel the seawall should have one side flat, as not being flat means you cannot dock ships against it. Well,
That's what you gangplank for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, also, we needed things to stick out on both sides, because if you're holding up a terrain tray like that,
Maybe that'll support
Yeah.
the battle boards or terrain trays, or you sculpt the ground. You can put
Yeah.
cobblestones in there.
yeah.
You can put your imperial streets in there, pave it out to the edges.
Yeah. On the other side, there's a gap between each one that's 2 inches wide, so you will be able to fit,
The
piece in
prototype
it.
doesn't quite
Yeah.
fit.
The prototype shrunk a little bit, so it won't fit. I mean, but you'll be able to see it a little bit like that. Yeah. So that can hold, your elevation pieces. It can hold your docks and scaffold and stuff like that, or anything that's 2 inches.
Which is the vast majority of
Yeah.
our pieces.
Pretty much. Is there anything else on this? Oh yeah, the moss was done so it can look like seaweed or like algae or something like that, but also be fine, like on regular terrain, just like have it be
What's cool at the
foliage.
base of like your building or
Yeah.
castle wall or whatever, you can use it to buttress up anything. So it needs to look good coming off ground, or it looks good on like a forest terrain tray if you use it at the edge of a forest wall, of a castle wall or something.
yeah.
And paint team did a great job.
So
too,
you
giving it a
also
look clean.
sculpted the top edge.
Oh,
The
yeah, the
top
top-
edge of that, it's got that neat pattern to it so that it acts like a border.
Yeah.
You can transition to the city streets or whatever because that border is there.
You'll hear it has a similar color scheme to city streets, but also like since there's 38 millimeters and these are 12. Sorry, these are an inch, and the floors are about 12. Like it sticks out a little bit, so it creates like a border. So it looked a little bit weird if it was just. I mean, I guess the height wasn't the reason why it has a different pattern, but we did want the distinction of like this is the border. This is where the city breaks into the water.
I'm wondering if we can stack two of the smaller arch pieces, the 2x2s, to make a circle like a sewage tunnel.
Where's the other one?
Do you have it? Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that
See what that
totally
looks
works. It'll work a little bit better because one of these is like a little bit overcast, I think.
Yeah, the
Right.
actual factory finish pieces will be completely
Yeah.
flat on the bottom.
Yeah.
We should show that.
Oh yeah. Let's. Your call? Oh yeah.
TMNT? Yes, exactly.
so you could do, like Michelle was saying, right? It makes a really nice little border.
Yeah, the red is the same color as this. Nice. And if people are bothered by this corner, what you can always do is take two of these 1x1s. Do something like this, where, so...
Feels like a post.
It feels like a post. It's the same, it sticks out the same as the feet do. And yeah, it'll stick out here a little bit, but like it's a corner. Look.
And then you can hang a biscuit filler off it, the ivy or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The little dungeon, the gargoyle corner fill that Michelle did would fit really nicely in there.
Actually, yeah, because it's the exact right height for that
Go
too.
find
so,
one of those. Yeah. I gotta find one of those. All right.
Let's see. What was your favorite and least favorite part of sculpting these, Sophie? Was there any particular challenge that was really driving you like wild?
This one was annoying to do because, you know, every time like I have to take it off and like pull it off from the base and sculpt on the bottom, like I had to be very careful I didn't smudge anything. And also because it was done halfway done before the reliquaries and halfway done after. Like not only trying to remember where we're at because like when we went to the reliquaries kind of dropped everything to do that, but also like, you know, cleaning up the sculpt since it was sitting around for like a while. But yeah, just going back on them. This is also where I was figuring out like, you know, what language worked. So I guess that was the most difficult part of the elevation system. Oh yeah, for the tops of these, what I did was after Eli did the cobblestone pattern, I extracted that into like, you know, my computer, and then I made like a stencil of it essentially, so I can push onto it to get to know where to do the lines, and then like just and then did that over for each square on the top, and then, you know, textured it and also like cleaned it up and also gave like layer height and stuff like that. So that was a fun part of it.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, here's
yeah, so if you have any of those dungeon corner fills, they will fit in there. The gargoyle corner fill, which I think we're planning to do a dungeon reconfig that'll make those more accessible. So that should be nice.
The Medusa one might look really cool there too.
What do you say?
The Medusa.
Oh, yeah, the snake one? Yeah.
Done.
Oh, it's there. Nice. Perfect.
I was curious how you guys got that design so consistent. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what
Patience.
I don't know what Eli did. Eli probably did the whole patient. I just figured,
actually
like, wait,
just, like,
I can just, you know, just stencil this. And for like pieces like this where it doesn't have the full one, I just cut the stencil in half.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Analog solutions.
Yeah.
Those alleys look so good with the seawalls. I haven't seen this yet. Yeah.
Yeah. We
No,
haven't
they
really
make a
shown
real
it
nice
yet.
divide.
We're gonna do a big old city compatibility build and show off all this stuff.
Yes. That actually should be good tomorrow, I think.
Yes, we start that tomorrow.
No, the video for city compatibility.
Oh, yeah.
It should be
we
ready.
didn't do this in that though, did we? No,
The one at the end, we've got...
it's not raised though.
Oh, we
It's
didn't
got
put the
streets,
seawalls
yeah.
on it. Okay.
Yes, we have a new video coming out tomorrow for compatibility old cities with Lowtown, which is it's just scratches the surface. There's still lots more to cover.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of cover, what do we got a bunch of pieces to. I got a bucket full of stuff. Michelle, do you have anything in here in particular that you want to talk about? How about that pen?
How about that Sharpie?
Yeah.
Michelle, you sculpted this? Wow.
Sharp.
Yeah.
Got kitchen. We got fireplace.
Plastic.
We got lantern. We got curtain.
Yeah, we don't...
Shutter.
Yeah, we don't have any mega packs because they're not
Correct.
really store friendly.
Hoist. doors. Do you want to look at the doors? The series of doors?
Sure. Let's look at doors.
You adore them. All right, so we have 3 doors in Lowtown. Of course, I only have 2 out of the 3.
Do I have one in my build? No, I don't.
Yeah.
I use the tavern ball pack.
I still have the original mold I made.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. Can we go large on that?
I don't have her set up to go large on that.
There you go.
I was not told that'd be part
Look
of
at
the programming.
the look at the
Screenshot and put it in the.
You got the Hightown doors in there. Wait, we got to.
Yeah, there's a couple of Hightown doors in there.
Oh, it's so cool.
So each one of these doors was sculpted in two halves, so that it made it really easy for me to add the details and everything onto them.
Because you basically just did it flat,
Yeah.
one side at a time, then your front side, back side separately, and then so you can see in all the prototypes like they're just glued together right now. We'll clean out the seams when we do the real thing.
Yeah, it makes it easier to cast them because then I don't have to do a 2-part mold. And
We have a
I
couple
can
of them
sculpt
like
both sides.
we have a couple of them like this at the office still too, where they're
The 2 halves.
yeah, they're in 2 halves like this, and then we just glue them together for the shoot.
Or sometimes, like, if we're only showing one side of it, like, we only have one side of it.
Yeah, some of them are only. We didn't glue them together. What and you drew a lot of inspiration from home on these, right?
Yes.
Do we have any of those pictures of Michelle's doors?
I mean, there's something. Okay.
I did post some to Chris to show. The being able to see the backside of these nice castle door. The castle doors goes into my master bedroom, and then Chuck's office has some doors from a monastery in Thailand or something like that.
Wow.
Well, so the story is that the couple that made your house like imported all these like fancy doors, whatever, into this whole thing, and then got in some huge fight, had to just divorce and sold the house, like angrily sold this house that they put all these amazing touches in. So you guys got this like unbelievable, has all this cool stuff that was from all over the world, right?
Yeah, so these doors are straight up just in her house.
Yeah, that's Chuck's office door.
Oh, yeah, that looks tile.
It's the best.
It's amazing.
It's a double door, so you can see there. That's the back side. The inside his office it looks like that.
And that was your inspiration
And all of
for
those.
the speakeasy door, right?
Yeah, the speakeasy door and the shutters, the reinforced shutters,
Yeah, I love the nails.
and then
on
that's
back.
the master bedroom door.
So you have all the bent
And all of
nails
those-
in your sculpts just like that. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I never really thought about it. I've done studded pieces before and never thought about what it would look like on the other side. And it's obvious that they didn't bother to put any decoration on the inner side of those doors. That it was the outside that was important. And so it also kind of makes it feel more dangerous having those exposed bits of metal.
I hadn't noticed
Thinking about
the latch on the inside of the inside of the armored shutter, having that little latch in there. That's amazing.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I had enough space on the larger shutter to put a latch in there.
So good. Just little bent over nails. Like
There
it's
wasn't quite enough room on the narrow one.
Most people wouldn't
But there's
even,
hinges on the inside of the narrow one.
most people wouldn't even bother sculpting anything on the inside, much less bent over nails and latches.
I can't not add the details if it's possible. I want those details there.
Well, it's going to live forever, right? This thing's going to be cast in dwarvenite and live forever. So you want every possible detail in there captured for eternity, that everybody, goes onto the game table and makes their game that much more rich.
And when I'm sculpting these, I'm thinking about, okay, how many times has this door been beaten on by someone? Maybe it's the guards have come up to it to try and. So there's bent. Some of the studs on there are bent or damaged, and there's tons of little nicks and stuff in the wood.
The story.
Yeah.
And what's the story on the fancy door?
Well, that one it started out with the idea when we first started sculpting for cities. We had the idea of putting in a smaller size door. I think it's in the original Fellowship of the Ring, where they show up at the Prancing Pony, and the guy behind the door opens up a little viewport and doesn't see anybody, so he opens the lower one, and then you can see the hobbits.
Okay.
So I had to do a door within a door. And we had been talking about the lumber baron's lodge, and that we needed a fancier door. And it just made sense to make the fancier door the one with the door within a door. And I ended up using, because the inspiration was, the around hobbits, I had to do a round door. It breaks up the all of the rectangular doors by having the L. And then since Celtic knots are my thing, I put them all over the place. I ended up using that for the backside.
Well, it just gives the door such distinct, immediate character. You put it on the table, it's going to make that building look different. It pops. It's again, the paint scheme that they figured out just helps give it, like, as if that circle wasn't special enough. Now it's got like the green paint to give the extra pop, so you really can't miss it. It really does the sculpt a lot of favors. The two little handles is one of my favorite touches. The fact that there's a second handle on there, it's so good, and the big, ridiculously elaborate hinges.
Well, we had to make sure that it was obvious that that was a door, not just another decoration.
Yeah.
Being able to use the kind of style of, we had a lot of elaborate hinges in the first cities Kickstarter. And so I pulled inspiration from that. Since none of the other doors had elaborate hinge work.
Or even hinges at all, right? This guy's got little ones here.
Yeah, that one.
And the other one doesn't. right? Does the rustic have?
No,
Yeah.
the big double doors do.
Yes.
Um,
Which I didn't grab, of course.
Want me to grab it?
the double doors, I love doing that one because I also did that lock hinge on the inside.
Okay.
Oh my god.
They're really going nuts. Hey,
Yeah,
we should do a
they're starting to
giveaway.
sing.
Toby,
Yes,
you have
that's
a secret word?
Yeah, what's a good word for giveaway? Come on, Toby.
I don't know a single word. I've never had to think of a word in my life.
Well, that puts us in a rough spot. Donkey Kong.
Adorable.
Or
The
library.
adorable doors.
Adorable. Yeah, sure.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Adorable
boy.
spelled regular because I don't want to like get anybody screwed up. Just type in adorable for a chance to win $50 for the Dwarven Forge, for the pledge manager for Lowtown. All you got to do is type that word at some point. You can use it in a sentence. It's not case sensitive. There are no restrictions outside of just typing adorable.
So a sentence like Nate's kids are adorable, for instance?
Or, Michelle, if you bring missing on your camera, then people will naturally just type adorable. So
Cat's
yeah.
adorable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cat had to be banned though. It's causing too many problems.
Look at that big lock.
Too many catastrophes.
She walked across the table here like 3 or 4 times, and then finally decided she had to walk on the keyboard.
Yeah. Well, they know when there's a camera active.
Yeah.
And they know how to get like immediately in front of it.
That's why I have to get
Yeah.
like those drawers that have the keyboard on it, like under the desk.
So you slide your keyboard up.
Yeah, so the cats don't keep walking on it.
Do you have a trick for wood grain, Michelle?
No, I don't have the trick. I know Eli's trick is awesome. For me, it's I generally just use my sewing needles. These were all done with the Sculptor, so they work a little different than the monster clay or even green stuff. And so it's really easy to get those lines in there. My green is generally a little finer than what Eli generally does. And so when I'm trying to match his stuff, I have to do it completely different.
Well, it seems like big buildings, you want rougher grain, and delicate doors, you want tighter grain. And then it helps the door pop against the wood, the wood door pop against the wood wall, and it's
I just generally, when I'm sculpting, I have pictures up on my monitor of close-ups of doors, or here I've got so much wood. This house has so much natural wood that it's easy to just look up and I'll see various wood grains.
Well, I feel like you draw. I feel like you are really good at finding good inspiration art. I feel like you're always finding the right picture to be like, what if we draw from this? Or what if I pull from this? Or what if there's the flow on this thing? It's one of your knacks, is finding the right sort of visual thing to draw from.
It's really important for me to have that reference. If I don't, the piece just doesn't flow as well. I always struggle when I'm doing something entirely out of my own head. It usually doesn't flow as well. So having sculpts, or having reference photos, having sketches, makes a huge difference.
Well, and you also, you're not afraid to, you post up a thing in progress and say, hey, this is where it's headed. I'm kind of struggling with this thing. I'm feeling like this. What do you think? How can this be stronger? And then rolling with what you get a bunch of feedback and then roll with it and dive in. That's scary, right? It's hard to be like, hey, here's the thing I done that is kind of half baked. Any thoughts? Like, you get good results. So.
And sometimes we end up.
Are they playing darts?
Doing something complete from the beginning.
Yeah, so that certainly happens. Well, the advantage though is you were, unlike Drew will spend a week sculpting a thing and say, okay, here it is, and it's all wrong, and you'll spend a few hours a day and say, hey, this is where we're headed, or we could try something like this or something like this, and then hone it in little by little, and so we generally don't have to go back to the drawing board because you kind of figure it out early on if it's not working, or another way to take it if it's not getting the results we need.
Usually it's not too hard to make changes, especially when I'm using the Sculpey, because I can easily cut off and change, rearrange, do whatever it needs to happen to get it to work.
You get there one way or another. It's amazing. Do we have any questions about doors before we go look at should we look at the roofs?
Tell them next door to pipe down. We're discussing our adult medieval dollhouses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was picking up, but routinely, every couple seconds, there it is again. They're hitting the wall. It sounds like they're throwing beanbags or darts or something.
I don't think it's dark, because dart will be a lot lighter. That's pretty thud.
They're hitting the wall with something every couple seconds. So they're doing some party where oh my god.
It's another. We got another note for the building.
Yeah, the last 2 months in this building have been terrible.
No. It's just for those neighbors specifically, and the upstairs.
And the upstairs, okay.
I'm glad I'm not hearing it at all.
Yay!
Any door? Maybe they're bad at darts and keep missing the board. One of them just breaks through into this room. Oh man. But it's a team building exercise. Cornhole, and they're just wildly overshooting and hitting the wall.
Any door questions?
Yeah, any door questions? And then also I'll roll the giveaway while we're at it. Yeah.
Adorable.
Phantom Bob. Phantom Bob won the giveaway.
Woo! Congrats, Phantom Bob.
Congrats.
Phenomenal name. Phantom Bob 42. All right.
41 other of them?
Just need to get your email, and
Let me get the.
we're all good.
Let me see if I can find the earliest sculpt.
And he's out of here. How strong are your doors holding that party back? There's no doors over there. The walls are not strong or thick, which is why the noise is getting through so badly.
We saw how they built this place. It just, the regular
It's really built out
studs
of
and
some sort of ramshackle wood.
yeah, we sculpted this wall. Yeah,
We're living in the wharf warehouse. It's not good.
the dwarf warehouse.
The bookcase is amazing. Yeah, it's one of the coolest sculpts. There were a lot of bookcase questions earlier.
Another thing about the bookcase is it fits between two corner posts, instead of a wall. Yeah.
You can put it in as a wall.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. So this is a fun. So remember you
Oh,
did.
yeah.
So speaking of courageously trying something half baked, so Toby started with a sculpt. You got it to 75%. We cast it to see, hey, is this going to work? Is this texture going to look good with paint? What are we going to do for the sides? What are we going to do in the back?
Because especially early on, when we're still planning to all the Hightstown stuff, including the, as one Kickstarter, we weren't sure if the wood on the side, like the current one, will look good with the ashlar stuff. So there was a lot of discussion. So at one point, like, I sculpted this more out like stucco, like, you know, the Tudor stuff, because just more as a, because that was one of the directions we're thinking about doing.
Didn't we even try painting it stucco to see what it looked like? And it was like, nope, nope.
Yeah. But also I didn't know what I should be doing the beams at. Like,
yeah, look at that. Look, compare it. Show the other side.
this is the current one, and this is the original.
And show the other side of that one too, right? That you did a test.
Yeah, and then this one, yeah, this one is it's hard to see, but this is the same pretty much as this one. So we decided to go with this side. Ultimately, we weren't sure if the beam should be the same thickness as the floor, because for the back, it holds the biscuit just like the floors, and you can biscuit floors to the top and bottom. But originally, we weren't planning to put biscuits on the side. Like this one doesn't have it, but this one doesn't have it, but there will be biscuits here. So originally we didn't have it, so like we just couldn't picture what it would be like. So I just decided to cast it at this point and just see if it not only like what colors, what texture will be, but also like what the dimensionality of some of the things are.
And then Eli gave you like a crash course in slate, like how slate forms or something, right?
Yeah.
Right, so that was the original, and this is the final. Tilt it towards the camera so they can see the...
I was trying to see what the difference was here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Question for Toby on the green roof. How good do you think it would look in red?
I want to see it in red because a lot of European, you know, older cities have, like Prague, which I went to, and for vacation, but also it helped inspire
Research.
research. Yeah.
I played Hitman.
But yeah, like it would look great in red.
So the original texture, you were kind of doing texture, to some degree for texture's sake, and then figured out how it forms. There was a flow and a logic to the texture on the second pass through, and
I really like how Eli does his videos, because it's not just telling you what to do. It's like going into the full like logic of like how these things are formed. Like even with the wood grain and stuff like that, it's like how the tree formed and how like when you cut it down, like what's the most optimal way for it to be cut down for the strength of the building and stuff like that. For here, it's like how the slate will break off.
Ooh, we should share that video in an update.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Really
yeah.
Cool.
Shares the whole like philosophy.
Where the heck is it?
I have to find out.
We talked about like sharing some of his stuff before. I think we talked about like sharing his wood grain like masterclass.
Yeah, he just does these breakdowns of sort of how how its slate is formed, and how that would affect the sculpt, and it really got good results.
And I think this will be a little bit sharper in the actual thing, because this has lost a little bit of definition in like printing it out.
Would that be something that would just be worth uploading to the YouTube channel?
Maybe.
Or
maybe we package it and do a thing. I don't know.
That'd be interesting.
This doesn't fit over here, but
we talked about that live stream.
On the top is
What about the live stream, Michelle?
We did a lot when Eli and I were there at the studio.
Yeah.
We talked about the wood grain and everything while we were sculpting on screen.
I think the nice thing is the slate is generic enough that it feels like you could slap pretty much any color on it, and it would feel right.
Well, and it's got texture, so it's gonna pop. Right, Hamster did that blue one that looked really nice. Like
I think it's a similar thing where you just follow like the general footprint for like making a custom paint scheme, and just replace it with like shades of the appropriate color, and you could make it look good with anything.
Yeah, another fun thing about like the sculpting was, especially on the corner pieces, like seeing how like, you know, slate would be tiled in a real building, and like
that was the thing Eli got hung up on too, because he was a roofer, being a carpenter, and he did his own slate roof, whatever, and he's like, well, right now the way you have the valley, water's going to get in, and you need to think about there, and it was like thinking about the water, how water's going to flow.
Yeah, exactly. Like it
awesome.
Makes a lot of sense, and like it was fun to go back and like redo it, because it was like it's like really seeing how like, you know, the building constructor.
The logic behind
Yeah.
the creation of the thing.
Were there any cases where we purposefully did bad roofing in the sculpting because it just looks better for the sculpting, or was the appropriate roofing technique always the better option?
Yes, because the tops of them, like, like you wouldn't have the slate going right up to the edge like this in a real sculpt. I mean, in a real roof.
In real sculpt.
Yeah, in a real roof, because like, you know, the water will get in. But in order to be able to have it like stack, if there was a bit, you know, like a band of like
Flashing.
metal or flashing and stuff like that there, it would break the feel that it's one big roof. So we did need to, like, you know, cheat a little bit and make it unrealistic, I guess.
Well, sometimes that is the
Yeah.
battle between realism and what's just going to look cool on the table, or what's going to read, or what's going to be fun.
Exactly.
And these are the fun debates to have, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it'll be more real to do it this way, but it's going to look cooler this way. Which of the things? Like,
That's one of the things I feel like some 3D sculpted stuff out there, like, it's hard to see is, like, when you like print it out, like when you're sculpting in like on the digitally, like, it's hard to see that scale. So like you tend to want to go with like real scale on the texture, like, and wood grain will never look good on like real scale down.
well, zoomed in,
Unless you play like with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Digitally zoomed in, you know, it looks great wherever. Then you get it out on the table, and it looks like nothing. This is the thing. Hamster all the time with the minis will be like, you know, sitting there and he'll be like staring at the thing from a foot away, and then he puts it on the table 3 feet away and goes like, his shoulders slump, and he's like, well, that's not gonna, it's gonna work. So this is, I don't have the green one here because it's in the Elven Trading Pose, but this is
Is
a
that
fun,
a beam about the
no.
Elven Trading Post
Yeah,
composition?
green roofs, confirmed. So this is a fun one
For
that you
elves?
guys. This is a great teamwork piece, right? Where Michelle did the wood bits, and then Toby, you did the slate and the decorative bits. Yeah, right.
Yeah. We tag team for both the one for this and the one for High Time, which you'll eventually see. But
Yeah. We try and have a bunch of collaborative.
yeah.
pieces. I mean, the whole process is as collaborative as can be. But this was a fun. And how did that work, Michelle? You did the lower and then cast it and sent it here.
Right.
Yeah.
We had an armature that Toby printed for me with the basic shape and dimensions. And I sculpted onto it and made a mold out of it, sent it to the studio along with the cast, and then Toby sculpted right onto the cast.
Yeah.
So cool.
So
It was a fun collab.
I thought it was great because then we had consistency in all of the slate because Toby did all of that. And I still got to add my little touch to the roofs.
And you had that really cool concept for the front, those beams.
Yeah.
The 6-way beam was really
And I
neat. You did a sketch that was awesome.
I believe the actual one will have these cut out, right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
just did
so-
on the
yeah.
yeah, they're there. You can actually knock it out if you have.
Yeah, so all the
Cool.
dark parts in between the wood beams will be an actual hole.
It was sculpted with the hole in it.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what the factory says. But
Is that a facade? It's not a facade. It's a
It
soffit.
is though.
Yeah.
But
It can be used.
yeah.
It can be used as one, sure.
But it was-
we're not calling it a facade, right?
No, it's
Yeah.
the peak soffit. But this was another thing that Toby worked out when he was working on this geometry.
Is that... I'll put this on here first. Put this here. The holes that the roofs have, they have holes on over here and over here. These ones are like, decorative holes, so they're not real, and over here and over here. So the outermost holes align with the corner post holes that these will all have for the facades. Which means that you could do things like
This doesn't have the pegs in it right now, but you could peg that directly to the side of your building and have like a cool overhang on the front of your building, a little awning for your door, so you could use it as a facade.
Yeah.
Yeah, you worked out a lot of really neat geometry for these, some hidden stuff that we have yet to discover all of the, the geometry that's buried in there.
Yeah, I feel like this is the most modular set we've made.
And then Michelle did the chimney that goes on the modular roofs and gave it wonderful character. This was an example of, Eli was like, but it's not, it's not real. Like you wouldn't build it with a bend in it because it's, and it was just, but it looks cool and it's different from other ones in his character, and like it just, every time I pop it on, I smile. It was like the right thing to do, even though it defies logic. You wouldn't, any mason in their right mind wouldn't build a chimney with that much of a thing. Michelle, you made it so it's sort of like it's been crumbling a little bit, right? It's slid. It was started maybe a little more straight and slid, but it was the right choice, right? Having that character was just what we needed, even if it defies what was the logical way to approach it.
Yeah. That's where the aesthetics won out over the function of the...
Especially because we have two perfectly functional, normal, straight chimneys. We needed a crooked chimney.
Sorry,
and since we couldn't do the elaborate roof, all of the roofs that we really, really wanted, we couldn't find a way to do those as modular, the character roofs. So the chimney gave us a way to do a little bit more character.
Oh man, the chimney, the Hightown chimney. Speaking of character,
that one's cool.
Michelle, you went nuts. Like I didn't even realize how nuts it was until I physically saw it in person. It is like, it's like if Sauron was going to have a chimney and keep bats in it. It is awesome. So this is gonna have to wait for that.
It definitely has character for Hightown.
Yeah, let's see if we can.
And he's out of here.
Bye, Nate.
We were talking earlier about the cobblestones.
Yeah.
The lantern post for Hightown. You guys sent me just a, I don't know if this will come through, but just a thin cast of the cobblestone texture and design, and I ended up just cutting the square out of that piece and sculpting it.
Okay.
With it directly. So instead of doing a stencil,
it's bean time.
It's what?
Oh,
it's bean time.
We're doing a bean?
Yeah.
Yeah. What the heck? So people are asking, what about these roofs? Are you going to continue the roofs in Hightown or whatever? And the resounding answer is yes, absolutely. Like we are very, very happy with the functionality of the modular roofs. Our intention is to continue both dark and green in Hightown. Add some more options, like build on what we already have, right? So if you buy in now, we're going to add some more stuff to give you even more functionality. So definitely go in now so you're ready for Hightown.
There's some cool things we've thought of. So
yeah, we're going to make the system even better.
Yeah.
And we'll give you a little teaser of things to come. This is not painted, whatever, but this is this is Michelle's Hightown. Oh, let's go.
Want me to move it or raise it?
You just leave it right there off the tree.
Hide it behind the... Oh, okay.
Look at that thing.
Oh, so this one. That's better, yeah.
So excited. So unpainted. Look at that thing. And of course, that would also work with your original roofs, too.
Are they little dragons? Yeah.
yes, they're little dragons.
Art Deco dragon.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love Art Deco, so.
And then the top is like a beaten copper.
With a pole accessory hole.
With a pole accessory hole in the very top.
Yeah. The copper works nice with all the tops of these roofs.
You can put the ravens up there.
The bats.
Oh, the raven.
Ooh, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
rookery. Now, what do you keep ravens in a?
How about the
murdery?
raven piece that we have?
Yeah, little raven.
Yeah.
Well, not a murdery. You're thinking of a murder of crows.
Yeah, but where does a group of where do ravens live?
I think a rookery.
A rookery's for
right.
hawks, right? But this chap.
An aviary? Aviary is a general bird place, I think.
Yeah.
Crow's nest.
That's for crows.
So the crows in the crow's nest.
Yeah.
Ravens live on writing desks. Yeah, that's a good
sold.
point.
Well, anyway, so get the modular roofs now because we got more fun stuff to come. We're gonna build on them in some really cool ways. We're scratching the surface here, but buy in the basics now so that you can build on some of the wild bits for Hightown.
We do have a raven in chat.
Gray Raven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Says rookery is correct. They think.
All right.
Nice.
An unkindness of ravens.
Yeah.
The best.
Can we get a version that would work with a fogger? That'd be difficult to then still have it be.
Yeah, we
know.
we thought about this. Yeah.
Toby, you modeled something out. So the original idea was to have a roof that had a chimney baked in, that had a hole, and would line up with the fogger, and it was a great plan. Except, what do you do with the fogger, right? Because the thing is an inch thick, and it's the same size as the building. So you would have to have like an 8x8 building, or at least a 6x6 building, just to house the thing, or you'd need a 1-inch riser, right? Because this is the same size as the buildings. In order to totally cover it, you need something that had enough height. That's why the thatched roof has such a bulge, the Bowie bulge to it. We think so. It was so. Yes, we have something that could line up and whatever, but there was no way to easily dress the fogger to get it under there.
Also,
to blast out through the spout.
if it came out in a really odd spot. It was like here or something like that, but like offset. So it's like.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
weird on the roof and whatever, but we definitely like Toby put in a lot of legwork trying to figure out how to have a modular base that would fit over that and whatever. So we haven't cracked it yet. Maybe we will in Hightown, but it turned out to be a trickier puzzle than we thought because of trying to hide this thing. If this was
I wish we made
small
it
enough to
smaller.
fit inside the building, it would be a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Good question.
Fogger facades.
Fog facades. Yeah.
Yeah, just to wrap the whole building.
I did
thing.
definitely think about that. Yeah, that was one of the things.
No,
Yeah.
you modeled out. You had like, yeah.
That's the main issue with the fogger, though, is where do you put the fogger in most of these cases?
Yeah.
Which is, it's a question we have to ask for like LEDs too. It's like, where are we going to put the battery and stuff for LEDs? Oh, you're saying put it under seawalls?
Yeah, it would fit in there, and it.
Still sticks up a little bit. That would be enough to. But then, I mean, you
You
can't.
can't really do anything with
It would
that.
just be a roof in the ground.
I just-
A street piece
Yeah.
in Hightown to that has like a smoking sewer grate.
Except it needs to be raised up enough to. Yeah, we can. I don't know. We will keep thinking of fun ways to stick all this stuff in. Good question.
I usually end up just like building a thought and then realizing it doesn't really go anywhere. So
Should look at the last one. Last roof piece. Which was this guy, which doesn't have the little spikes, which look really neat.
did all of them fall off?
This one I don't think had them. We had the ones with them are in
Should I grab?
Elftown.
I mean, if
Yeah.
I grab it, I can put it right back.
I'm excited for the Dwarvenite versions of these that'll
yeah,
just have the spikes like permanently attached instead of them being very brittle little things that we've glued on.
Yeah, there's little spiky bits for the wizard hat roof,
Yeah.
front, back.
Fogger 2.0 with less fogging force and smaller size. Isn't that basically just steam pods?
Except they were big. They were like, the diameter. They were 2 inches or something in diameter, like annoyingly larger than you might like them to be.
Man. Yeah, but even if it's a larger building, that still doesn't solve the question of how you actually make the thing work, and then how do you actually make it modular?
It needs to line up with the whole. There's a whole.
And then it's not very modular, and it's not.
Well, Michelle, let's look at what do you want to look at next?
Should we look at the kitchen?
Yeah. Let's see what's cooking in the kitchen.
The force of the smoke coming out of the new thatched roof makes me think the inside must be on fire. We were thinking about doing a bit with that, where well, never mind. Love the little attic in the wizard hat roof. Such a wonderful idea. Yeah. It's one of those cute touches.
What was the what was the genesis on this thing?
Well, we started out with wanting to do some pieces that could make a room all by itself, so that it didn't take a lot of setup. And I can't remember actually how we came up with the idea of specifically for the kitchen, beyond that it just made sense that a tavern, well, it made sense that any building would need a kitchen.
I think we were saying, what's something that everybody wants at least one of, right? We had the fireplace. We're like, everybody needs at least a fireplace. You put everywhere, and then the kitchen came up as a thing that just appears all over the place.
Also, I was thinking
being able to.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I can just say this later. It's a side thought anyway. It's relating to the kitchens, but it's not relating to the sculpt itself. So,
Michelle, McGreg is saying that you could tell them at this point that this is your kitchen, and they'd believe you.
Yeah, it's an imported medieval kitchen, straight from France.
Yeah, well, my kitchen has got a huge stained glass over the top of it, so
of course it does.
Huge stained glass paddle over in the ceiling. So mine's it's a little more elaborate than this one. The couple of challenges that were on this piece was, one, we wanted it to be able to fit both in the rustic wood, but also work in Hightown.
Right, fancy places need kitchens too.
So I had the idea to put a wood frame around it, so I could have the stone that would fit and make sense. You want as much non-flammable stuff around your kitchen as possible. So I did all the stonework, but then I also added that wood border around the outside, so it made it tie into a wood structure. It gave you something to put your nails in for hanging those meats over to smoke, or the herbs to dry on the other side. I wanted to have as much detail as possible in the one little piece.
Achieved.
And so being able to add all the little details that make sense. And even if you had two of these in a room, in a giant room, I still think they'd look good together.
Yes. And you put a counter between them, a little bit of clutter, and it would, like, you could totally buy it. You take the grate off one.
Yeah, and then we had to have the mega meat. I wanted an animal on a spit. But then started, when I was doing image searches for animals, especially seeing whole goats and whole pigs, and it looked so bad. They looked like something from a necromancer's wet dream, rather than
okay, thanks for those words.
Something that looks fun.
We have our secret word for the next stream.
So I wanted to make something that didn't scream, this used to be a cute fuzzy animal, and it could also, you could add some green tint to it and say it's, like an orc leg or something. So we did the little And then I wanted to have the spit to be a separate piece, something that could stand alone and work
See if I find it.
in, like wildlands. You put it next to your camp or whatever. If you wanted a real hovel, you could just leave the kitchen out and just have the spit meet with a small fire, campfire or something in the middle of the floor. So just as a way to get more use out of the same pieces.
Well, this was the
And-
which is currently on hold. We're having something with CMS or factories having challenges with. I think they said these were too small. And I don't know. It was that same thing with the cattails. It was some sort of price nonsense where it's like, I don't know. We got to sort out. I don't know
So,
what the other one is.
We might have to modify the sculpt a little. So I guess the end thing was that Nate, you had mentioned when I made that grate removable, when I was talking about that, you mentioned the trap door in the castle's roof, that we didn't have a trap door, anything more than that one trap door. So we decided to make that fit that same size so that we had an alternate piece for the trap door, for the smaller trap door.
Does the spit blend in seamlessly with hellscape terrain? Can we just drop the meat in hellscape?
I mean, it kind of does look like the.
You probably.
Yeah. We only had one small trapdoor in our lineup, so I was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity. The original one was just slightly this offsize from that, so we make it. See if I can get this in there. It's not quite. Yeah, we'll get it there with the final.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
But now we have that and also a new trapdoor.
Yeah. So now we have the trapdoor that Toby did in this and this thing. So now we have 3 trapdoors, small trapdoors in our trapdoor lineup. Oh, I may never get this out again. Oh boy.
Got it? Okay.
Yeah. So this will also work with the magnetic trapdoor frame that Toby sculpted.
Work with
Yeah,
this
it'll
thing.
work.
Well, it doesn't work now. 'cause
Not
this
yet,
one's
but
too
it
small
will.
for that. Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
work on top of this.
Yeah.
So it's anytime we can add to our system, right? This is something else that Toby you're always harping on. It's like, hey, how do we keep building out the existing systems? Like, is there a way to add another set of double doors? Is there a way to add another LED unit? Is there a way to add a JST LED thing? Is there a way to add a window insert, a thing for the light panel, a thing for whatever? Like, we have a long list of like, what are the systems that we can keep supporting and putting more things in, so you get more options. So this was really exciting, like just being able to put a little piece that then becomes a piece someone can swap in for their trapdoor. Also, you could put a trapdoor on this if you wanted to, you know. You have the option. People do all sorts of surprising things that end up looking pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's part of the fun. Love this thing.
Yeah, and also if I was going to say earlier, but also realized this, the back of the fireplace kind of looks like an oven. They can, yeah, it's the same thing. So you can put, if people want to extend their kitchen, they can do that.
Oh.
Or I was thinking, you know, the dungeon, I forgot what it's called, but like the arch insert.
Yeah, the pizza oven.
Yeah, it's a pizza oven. It looks like a pizza oven.
The
so
plinth, the
plinth
arch.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is totally could be an oven to add to, put it between 2 of these and their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've also heard a lot of people say that it could be where they keep the bodies at the morgue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Totally looks, especially the back of this.
Yeah, that one definitely looks like.
Could build that in. Oof. Dun dun dun. It's great, these little.
I imagined that it could be used just to keep the room next to it warm.
Yeah.
And still keep, smoke from coming into the room. A place where you go to remove the ashes.
Yep. Clean out. Yeah.
Or or you can put wood in there, and you can totally have this on the back, where you keep all the wood logs and stuff like that.
Yeah, just feed the fire from the back.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea on the outside of the house.
From outside?
Yeah. That's super clever. It's a neat way to have some style on the side of your building, too. Right? It's like, yeah, we haven't done that yet. It's going into the big build tomorrow. Heck yeah. All right, let's look at what else do you have, Toby? What do you want to look at? Oh, we didn't look at the wizard.
Yeah, we did not look at the wizard because I went over and
Wizard,
found.
yeah. You were gone for 1 minute, and that was it.
Yeah, it was
Train
too
left
late.
the station.
Yep.
Never to return.
I'm used to it.
New York City subways.
So this is a wizard hat roof, and look, it was sculpted in 2 sides, so you can be able to do. If you have 2 of this side.
Do a different color.
Oh wait, where's
Or maybe, oh man, imagine roofing a building where it's
Party
just
color.
split in half color-wise.
Yeah, the Two-Face building.
Feywild and Shadowfell and one.
That would be incredible. You head into the night. Oh man.
But yeah, so this one.
I didn't realize this is totally. We have Feywild and Shadowfell roof color schemes.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never.
Nice.
Just dawned on me. That was all part of our secret plan, you see. Yeah.
But yeah, this
You
is.
need to put the world tree, the Eli sculpt in the center of it.
The threshold of worlds growing out of there.
The threshold of worlds, yeah.
So yeah, these 2 can be put together to make the roof for a tower, or you can use this, and I don't know where the back piece is. I don't have one with me, but you can. Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. And be able to be sculpted in like this, and then you can have the dangled room and stuff like that.
And what'd you put inside that? That was one of my favorite bits.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah. So inside of here, most of the roofs are solid, but this is, a special piece, so I decided that maybe I can do sculpt on the inside over here. So I made an attic space, and I put some, things you might see in an attic, like, a barrel, a chest.
Baseball cards.
Yeah, definitely. What's the baseball equivalent of
Magic, the Gathering card.
Oh yeah, I should have sculpted that in there. Yeah. And this one, it's a similar thing, but since this one goes on the back like this and can connect to the roofs and to the main building, I decided to put a door here. And on top of the door, there's bottles, and on the back side, there's a door as well, so you can even put a little balcony coming out of here if you want to. Yeah.
So Miles did this the other day, and it blew my mind. It was like taking the corner platform and then a narrow railing, and then you put it's not quite stable, but it should. And then you put the little spyglass on there, and you have a look out, and then that goes on. Right, it becomes the perch on the top of your roof. It's so killer.
Yep. And these
Did you show them the little door you sculpted in there?
Yeah, I just showed the door. Yeah, it's on. Doors are on both sides, and you also put Gothic spikes on each corner of the.
Which come off on every. They keep getting knocked off on our prototype.
The final one will be stuck in there properly, but these are flimsy, so they fall out off easily.
You can't make any other roof pieces fit in between the wizard hats. Nothing else has that profile.
No.
However, one thing I do want to try at some point is using 2 of the backfill wizard hat pieces together and having the spire in the middle of a roof run and
split.
Just see what it would be like to build to that.
Yeah, you could put a narrow platform, scaffolding platform between these and do a neat thing.
Oh, even
Or
on top
you
of the tower, yeah, you could actually have
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
doors be like exits
Connecting
and have
two
like a
towers,
walkway
like-
where you can
Yeah.
go into that roof and then back out. Oh, we
Even
gotta
that,
do a
if you-
sample build for that.
It's so many fun.
Man, okay.
If you do that
That's what I mean. We
upside
keep
down-
discovering things with this set. There's just a lot of everything was made to be as like flexible as possible, and so we keep discovering new
That's cool,
things.
the double.
Yeah, so like right there, like you could actually make pathways going out of both of those if you want, or have both of those built into. That could be
Two
where you
different
split between like the Shadowfell and Feywild
Yeah.
in the house.
And you could connect two of these with a platform between. Whoops. Yeah,
Can
there's
this
a
do
lot of
anything?
possibilities.
Four of them?
Yeah, we haven't even like explored how much we can do with that, but like that's just even like thinking through it. There's a lot that you can do.
Well, also
With
it's just a
that.
really cool looking roof, and it works
Yeah.
really well on the bay window, which we people have been asking about. You can pop this thing on top of the bay window.
You
Looks
can also
neat.
put this. On
The
like-
wizards have to trade spells, right? So you just make a little
House.
walkway between the wizard towers.
Yeah, you can just biscuit it right to the side as a
Yeah.
cool entrance.
Yeah, they have biscuits like over here, so you can biscuit it together, but also biscuit onto floors
Just do that.
to make
It's
it a
really
cool
awesome.
entranceway.
Be nice if we could have more open attic space in the other roof pieces too. So with those, we needed them to be filled in so we could actually do all the connections right.
It has all
But
these-
to make attics, what you do is you have roofs biscuited in between them, so you can actually make entire roof layouts
Yeah.
or entire like room layouts in between the pieces.
If
Once-
you
so you
if
can
you
customize
build,
the attics. Yeah.
Yeah, if you build around floor like such,
I'll
you
move
can.
this.
If you have your roofs going all the way around, biscuited to the side, you can have playable inside attic roof. We do it in like the Lumber Baron's Lodge. Like you can see in that walkthrough, we lift off the roof and you've got playable attic space. Then you go down each layer.
Yeah. And even though we couldn't do an actual attic sculpted into the sides of these, I sculpted a door on the back of the straight one just to imply there's space inside,
Yeah,
or like where people store stuff.
or a doorway down, or
Yeah, exactly.
whatever.
Can they be used upside down as a cantilever support? Could you biscuit in? Could you
This?
biscuit in upside
Yeah,
down?
you
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
could.
actually. Oh yeah, it's like the
No, the third floor. You could biscuit that in.
Huh.
I don't think it would give you a lot of support, but you could.
We could.
Do
We can probably find something cool with that if we play around with it.
I mean, can do that and just have a octagon room coming
Oh,
out
you
of
can
it.
do it this way too.
Yeah.
You could just.
Yeah.
I guess
and
you,
then-
you could build a tower coming up out of it.
Yeah, but
Just
then
have
you
one-
also have to have the same roof coming upward, so it might look weird if it's top and
Just
bottom like that.
looks like a crystal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that also looks kind of cool, so.
No,
Yeah.
no wrong answers.
Yep.
All right, let's look at one last Michelle piece. Ooh, can we look at this little guy?
Yeah.
Speaking of blowgun darts.
It's just like the wreckage there and then the little cart.
A happy little cart.
Yeah.
Which takes this thing. This was such a good one. When we were talking about modular carriages and wagons and carts, whatever, and Michelle, you're just like, how about we just make a hand cart? There's lots of other carts that are, but no, like just a small, simple hand cart.
Yeah.
You can put everywhere. You can use all over the place. You can put a mini on top of it, like, and it was the best idea. It was like the small, simple. Oh, look at that. That was the selling.
That was the concept. I was just here's the sizing roughly of what we wanted to be able to do.
It was perfect.
I actually wanted a cart from the beginning because it's in the trash pile. It's in the barricade.
Oh, you preemptively sculpted it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the big long
Let's see if we can find that.
piece, and that's what I used for.
Speaking of the barricade.
That was some of the early blocking for figuring out the geometry for the.
Yeah, you
for
can see you can see the cart
barricades.
right there, below him to the right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's in the final. I don't have the barricade here. I don't.
No. Oh, it's in that build.
The barricade?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cart.
Since Dwarvenite's indestructible, I can't wait to build speed bumps with the wizard hat roof. Just spike traps.
So there's the cart built in. There it is for real. This is my favorite bit. You can put minis on it and like.
It's like the mimic pack. It's that thing that I really like, where where you have like repeated elements in different places. The fact that the mimic pack, the mimic is just made out of the equipment pile.
Wait, hold on. So where's our trash mimic?
We're not telling them about that one yet.
Hightown. That's where the classy mimics live.
One man's trash is another man's enemy.
Another man's mimic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And this was, you used the blowgun dart for the axle on this.
Yeah. That was the original. Axle was a blowgun dart.
I'm not going to ask you why you have so many blowgun darts.
Bears.
Yeah.
Chuck just remembered where they were when I was asking him for
That doesn't answer anything.
stiff wire.
We all generally do have a supply of blowgun darts around somewhere. So I get that.
So it was the perfect thickness and stiffness for the axle. And when I went over to the studio when we were doing that brainstorming sprint, whatever, I brought the rest of that blow dart with me, and so we just cut some more off of it to do the bookcase hinge. So it just worked out.
The blowgun dart that was meant to be. So I got one last thing before we go, which is, I don't know who did this. Somebody was just sitting in build room. Someone had started putting broken bits in here. I was like, this is genius. You can put the broken secret door panels in the floor, in the cutout in the floor.
I can't believe I didn't think of that.
It's just like the ghost house in Link's Awakening.
It's just like the ghost Link in the Awakening of, yeah.
I didn't play that.
Ocarina of Time.
That's different. That one came later.
Anyways, that's a pretty neat, fun, yet another option we're just discovering. It's just delightful. In fact, we can probably use the full panel to make a little ramp too. I didn't even think about that. I don't know where you feed it to. You can do
nice.
Some sort of ramp. It's not tall enough to fill the whole thing, but
you could have elevation block beneath it or something.
Yeah.
But
yeah, one of those little 1-inch.
If you put something on the wall over here and fill the gap, you can treat it as like a booby trap, like a pitfall.
Or a rug, cover it or something, and then you drop. Yeah, if you just covered that last bit.
As close as we're getting to ruins. Well, hey.
Take what you can get. I mean, there's 200 something pieces in here. There's a lot of stuff, okay?
Yeah, we couldn't break a single one of them? Yeah.
The kids tried.
Sorry, make it out of Dwarvenite. It doesn't break.
I cannot believe you're just like, oh, what are we going to do at the end of this game? Yeah, destroy the town. Everybody just starts like Donkey Kong, like ground slamming the table.
You know what? It was a good solve. Then I figured out how to defeat the demon. I had no idea how it was going to work out, and it worked out. All right, let's get, we should call it a night, because it's 9 o'clock.
Yes. And
we have, before we destroy anymore.
Every stream ends with this, and it's such a pain to put away.
Yeah, this isn't so bad, all things considered. This is pretty...
it being worse than this isn't like a bragging point.
A little bit. Well, thank you, Michelle, thank you, Toby, for hanging out, and talking about all the tricks of the trade. Hopefully, you guys learned something new tonight.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, the big stones on the ends of buildings.
Coins.
In the chat, they were saying it's pronounced like coins.
Coins.
Yeah.
Now I think when we're talking about Eli was saying
said
coins,
Yeah, that does ring a bell.
Yeah.
The whole
His
time,
2
that's what
cents.
Mario was supposed to be collecting.
Just bricks.
Coins. Big,
That's why he had
huge
to break the
corner.
brick blocks to get.
Yeah.
He's breaking the bricks to get the coins.
Yeah.
Oh,
That makes sense. Coins to coins.
Yeah.
Man, then they just really messed it up in translation.
Happens.
Developers did not understand what was going on.
So before we go, what what's the what's one thing, Michelle? What's the one thing that you are most proud of in Lowtown? You think? And Toby, same question to you.
You know, it's right up there between the bookcase and but I think I have to say the bookcase because it really pushed me beyond what I thought I was capable of doing.
It was weeks of work. Like
I was really worried that it wasn't going to turn out the way.
It's absolutely glorious. I mean, people are clamoring for ways to get more of them, so that's always a good sign.
Yeah, the problem is I don't think they're going to be as happy when they see what it would cost to get those in multiples.
It's very expensive.
It's one of the more expensive. Yeah, but it's a really complicated mold. Like to make the
everything about it's complicated.
yeah, like to make it work like that.
The engineering, the paint,
yeah,
the whole thing. Yeah, you should be proud of that. It is a marvel.
I love
and
that
it is going to. There are so many people that are going to have so many wonderful surprises. That thing is going to provide gasps and oohs and ahs and applause at the table like around the world. It's going to be.
Well, and because what we were thinking too is like because you can get bookcases from a lot of places have done like bookcases. So if you just want like coverage for bookcases, it's easy to get. But we wanted to make like
nobody's done this.
Nobody's done. Yeah, and that's our thing,
modular,
right?
swappable, secret door bookcase. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And Toby, what do you think you're most proud of?
Well, yeah, for sculpting wise, definitely the wizard hat roof because it was fun to like not only develop like the whole system, essentially, but then like figuring out how to do things, learning new ways to sculpt the inside and stuff like that, and then like also like
casting the outside, iterating on it in
Yeah.
analog style,
Yeah, so this was sculpted and then I cast it, and then I like damaged some of the the slates, so I can like have the two sides be like fairly similar but have its own identities.
Basically, because both sides had to doing much of the same
Yeah.
thing. You did Michelle style analog copy and paste, and then dinged each one up so they're each individual.
Yeah, and then like the spires from that actually came from the what's called the Hightown 4-inch soffit piece. There's like,
Wow.
I can put that over
I
there.
forgot
Yeah.
it has little,
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be another thing. To
So
look
that's why
forward
it's
to.
Gothic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The key is you got to back Lowtown so we can get to Hightown. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, the wizard hat roof would look really good on a like Gothic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's what it was.
Ashlar, it's like
Yeah, that's what it was initially
Yeah.
designed for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's gonna be wild.
It's so fascinating, just like how the plans have changed and how these sculpts have like shifted with like the plan to like cut the Kickstarter in half and stuff. And
We'll see,
Yeah.
and we'll see how the next, how it shifts from here, and it's all part of the fun journey. And speaking of the journey, thank you guys for joining us for this little slice of the journey. So tomorrow night, Hamster will pick up the torch and run with it and do we know what he's painting tomorrow? He's going to do some painting with...
just gonna grab some prototypes. Yeah, he's got
a Warhammer painter.
Yeah, award-winning Warhammer painter on stream. The stream actually, he messaged me right before this. So we initially pushed it back. We were planning for it to be at 6. We pushed it back to 7 so we could get the guest on. And then the guest's plans changed, and now he wants to move it back up to 6. So that stream might actually be at 6 tomorrow again anyways.
So 6 o'clock Eastern tomorrow.
6 o'clock tomorrow for the
painting.
painting.
Some prototypes, doing some alternate paint schemes, taking suggestions. Should be fun. And then Thursday we'll be building. Miles will be here, and we have special guest Matt Kroll from Extra History, Extra Credits.
He's a big DF fan.
Big obsessed DF fan, like most of our fans, totally in it. So we'll be doing some building for the game on Friday. We're gonna have a live game in the city, so you see Lowtown played. It should be lively.
Yeah.
Yep. The reason Toby won't be building on Thursday is because he's going to be playing on Friday. So
Actually,
he can't see any of that.
Toby is going to be building.
Really?
I want to have my character be like part of like either the city planning or like someone that
architect
knows
of the city.
what the city layout, but he doesn't know what's going on. Like,
Okay, that's a fun twist actually.
Just like what I did with the kids, right? They did a bunch of the building, then they left, and I threw a couple of surprises in there, so they thought they knew what the plan is. So they don't.
So what would you play for that? What would that be?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like
A forge cleric?
Artificer?
Or a forge cleric.
Artificer makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Forge cleric could work.
Some sort of wizard.
Dungeoneer rogue, or maybe.
Could be a fighter.
It's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, retired
there's
fighter,
a
just wanted to be a city planner, hung up the sword. Could be retired anything.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, like it's maybe like it was a fighter, but he also did like the carpentry and building on the side, and he has the strength from that. But then he wanted to like do more and start planning the city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
I never really
He's a
played
fighter
on
who
full
took
on
an arrow
fighter.
to the knee.
a what?
You took an arrow. A fighter that took an arrow to the knee.
Yeah, your career ended with
used to
a
be an
tragic
adventurer.
arrow to the knee.
Either way, you got to make sure you have Mason's tools, and we got to actually use
Yes.
like the special tool rules.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
cool.
they have rules for that that are actually like pretty fun, but they don't get used a lot.
Yeah,
Not enough tools.
that'll be
get
fun.
used.
Yeah.
Thieves' tools are the only ones that get
I'll
all the.
consult with you on that then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, let's get out of here. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for all the support on the Kickstarter. If you haven't yet, you can check it out. There's a link in the bottom, jordanforge.com/cities, to get you over there. It's been a wild ride. We're at 2.2 something million and cruising. Can't wait to see where it goes. We got some fun stuff to come.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Woo!
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.
Bye, Michelle. Bye, everybody.